You know that moment. We've all been there. A really important piece of your tech just dies, and you have to make a call, right then and there. Do we repair it or do we replace it? Now, it sounds simple enough, but, getting this wrong can seriously mess with your budget, your security, and even your company's future. So today, we're going to break down how to make the right call every single time. Just imagine this for a second. It's a busy Tuesday morning, your team is absolutely crushing it. And then, nothing. Silence. The server's down. You've got blank screens everywhere, frustrated people, and you know that every single second of downtime is just money pouring out of the business. So, what's your next move? And look, this isn't just about surviving one bad morning. It's this constant balancing act, right? A quick fix that saves a little cash now versus a smart investment that's really about your future. And honestly, getting this decision wrong over and over is one of the most common ways that small businesses accidentally hold themselves back. And that, right there, is the heart of what we call the SMB tech dilemma. It's that really tough spot between trying to manage a tight budget while also needing modern, reliable tech just to stay in the game. But hey, when you're in the middle of a crisis, you just need a place to start. A simple rule of thumb that can cut through all the noise and the panic. Well, it turns out there is one. It's called the 50% rule. So here's how it works. It's pretty simple, actually. If a repair costs less than half of what a brand new replacement would cost, repairing it is often the smart short-term move, as long as the equipment isn't already totally obsolete. But the moment those repairs become a regular thing, or that old tech is clearly slowing you down, you've crossed a line. At that point, you're not saving money anymore. You're just kicking the can down the road. 50%. That's the number. Just lock it in your mind, because when you're facing a crisis and everybody's looking at you for an answer, this is your anchor. It's that first quick filter that helps you make a logical call, not just an emotional one. But as you've probably guessed, that 50% rule, it's just a starting point. To make a decision that's truly good for the business, we have to look past that initial price tag and really think about the hidden factors. And honestly, those are often the ones that matter most. Sticking with old equipment, it's kind of like leaving your front door unlocked. Older devices, they often stop getting those crucial security patches, which makes them a super easy target for ransomware. And beyond just security, there's the constant risk of another failure and more expensive downtime, always just hanging over your head. And this is exactly why you have to reframe how you think about replacement. It isn't just an expense, it's an investment. It's an investment in speed, in security, and in your ability to scale. It's about giving your team the tools they need to actually grow the business, not just the bare minimum they need to scrape by. When you actually lay it all out like this, the tension becomes crystal clear. Yeah, sure, on cost, repair looks like the obvious winner at first glance. But then, look at the other rows. With a repair, you're basically accepting a higher risk of future problems. You're inviting potential compliance headaches, and you get almost zero boost in efficiency. Replacement costs more upfront, for sure, but what it buys you is reliability, security, and a genuine performance upgrade. That is the real trade-off. And hey, don't forget the cost of labor. With IT support rates easily hitting $150 an hour or even more, just 2 or 3 of those so-called cheap repair calls can add up to over $500. And all of a sudden, that's half the price of a brand new machine. This is exactly how a bunch of small repairs can quietly end up being way more expensive than one smart replacement. So, okay, how does all this actually apply to your business? Because whether you have 5 employees or 50, the right strategy is going to look a little different. So let's build your custom IT playbook. If you're running a team of 10 or less, you know that cash flow is king. You're probably leaning on affordable, local repairs just to keep the lights on. The key here is to try and shift from being reactive to being proactive, even on a small scale. Simple, regular maintenance checks can help you spot that dying hard drive before it decides to take your entire business down with it. Now, as your team starts to grow, the cost of downtime just skyrockets. So now you really need to be preventing problems, not just fixing them after they happen. This is where things like managed IT services become an incredibly powerful tool. And it's definitely time to get serious about creating an inventory policy so you know exactly how old all your equipment is and can plan for replacements on your own schedule, not in a moment of total crisis. And listen, this next one is the rule that applies to absolutely everyone. Compliance is not optional. It doesn't matter if it's protecting customer data under GDPR or some other regulation, your hardware has to support modern encryption. This means you've got to get rid of those old legacy systems before the manufacturer cuts off security support. Failing an audit can be devastating, and honestly, it's a completely avoidable risk.
All right, knowing all this is great, but taking action is what really counts. So let's walk through the final steps to turn this whole framework into a real working plan for your company.
Okay, here's your roadmap. It all starts with just understanding what you have, your inventory. Then you run the numbers for both options, repair and replace. With the money stuff clear, you double check that both options meet your security and compliance needs. It's only then that you start talking to vendors because now you're armed with your own data. And finally, you make this a living process by always keeping one eye on what's coming next in tech. And finally, how do you make this strategic thinking a permanent part of your company's DNA? Well, first, you create a clear, written-down protocol so that these decisions are consistent. Then, you train your staff to be your first line of defense, teaching them how to spot issues early. And finally, you invest in some tools that monitor your systems for you. This is how you stop constantly fighting fires and start confidently building for the future. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Is your current IT strategy all about putting out fires, just reacting to the latest crisis? Or is it a forward-looking plan that's actually ready for what's next? The choice, as they say, is yours.